If that don't give you chills, I don't know what will. Got a question for you guys right up front. You ever took a close look at the eye? Yes, I'm Daniel Alexander Cannon. This is the Supernatural Show. And in today's service, Shannon and I are going to be taking a look, and we're going to be looking at the eye and its relationship to historical symbolism, and also relationship to the upcoming event that we many of us are going to see here around the country in just about a week. Matter of fact, exactly a week. Next Monday to the day, you'll see this in the sky, and it's going to look very similar to this. Next Monday to the day, it's going to look very similar to this, and you'll have all these rays coming out from the center, because the entire sun itself is going to be covered, because the moon is 20% closer to us from our vision standpoint. It will be 20% larger. Let's say it that way instead of saying closer. 20% larger than it was last time. So this is very similar to what we're going to see in the sky, in the heavens. I don't know about you, but that put me on my knees, and that's going to be very close to what we're going to be seeing here coming very soon. So, Miss Shannon, how are you doing today?
Hanging in there. I'm waiting for my procedure on Friday, but I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
Shannon the Trooper. Yeah, guys, we're going to be getting into, and me and Shannon are going to be talking about it. We're going to be looking at the comments as well, and responding to your guys' comments as we go. We're going to be looking at the comments a lot, trying to have a conversation with y'all guys that are out there, and see what y'all guys' thoughts are as we are going through the show here as well. Try to involve y'all guys as much as reasonably possible. I started out with this image because I want you to understand. Well, I started out with the supernatural image of the eye that is always there, but it's veiled, and only when crystals of ice that refract the light from the sun comes through allows you to be able to see the actual image of the sun. It is in the image of your eye, amazingly enough. And there's a reason for that. There's a deep meaning to it as to why the sun projects this image. And ultimately, it's because the eye is in the image of God, and the eye is in the image of heavens and the earth. You're looking at the world, spelled WHIRLED. You're looking at the world. And it is undeniable. I'd love to see somebody debate me that this isn't an image of an eye. And the Egyptians, they used to, they had their own names for what they believed at the time. And we're going to look at some of that stuff as related to this as well. And Shannon, you jump in at any time you have a thought or a comment or anything. Please feel free. Dan's not going to be able to be here today. He's taking care of some things that are going on. He's got a lot of supernatural things going on still at Windwalker Ranch. And he said something a week and a half ago. He said something to me. He said, what would happen if God blinked? And I thought that was a profound question. What would happen if God blinked? And then I thought, what would happen if God opened his eye, you see, the sun and the moon, the sun is masculine. It's masculine energy. It carries the spark. The moon is feminine. And most people are well aware of the fact that the moon affects females' fertility cycles all around our world. And so when you get the moon and the sun coming together, there is the opportunity for, we'll just say it the way it is, for a opening, a portal between literally heaven and earth. And something may come out or something may go through when these supernatural eclipses, especially like the one we're having here, with all the different things that we've pointed out over the last episodes, which I'm not going to go through all of it, take 2 more shows. But there is extreme potential. But see, when you think about a woman and a man, the feminine and the masculine energy coming together, and they come together as one. Don't think I have to explain that any further. They come together as one. You have that potential for something to go through, aka a sperm, or then you also have the potential for something to come out, as in a child would be created. And at the moment that that sperm meets the feminine side, the egg, what do you get? You get a spark. The egg literally lights up and flashes with a spark when it's fertilized. And we have symbolically with this eclipse, you have the sun, you have, or the masculine, you have the feminine coming together, and you have also, if you've seen the last show, you've seen where I talked about Satan's semen, the essence or the symbolism of the bringing forth of something that is in the image of a sperm, which is a comet. And I had somebody make a comment about that, like I didn't have any basis to base this on or something other. So I want to show you something. Let's take a look at this. Let's see if I see one here. Okay, this is what's called in science. It's called a comet assay or assay. A comet assay. Okay. And what is it? Well, it's when they're looking at semen. There's nothing profane here. It's when they're looking at it under a microscope and analyzing its behavior and analyzing its healthiness and analyzing its potential in order to fertilize and produce a spark. And they call it a comet assay. Just like I showed you that the gematria for the devil's comet or the serpent seed or the devil's semen and all of these things all match up exactly. And this is one of the other confirming pieces of information that let me know I was on the right trail with what I was looking at. I mean, nobody can tell me that doesn't look like what we would call a comet. And they call it a comet assay. It's the analyzing of the comet. Okay? And I just find it fascinating because I already had the understanding in my head before I even looked it up, but I knew what I would find if I was on the right track. So what are you saying, Daniel? I'm saying that the comet is the essence of a deity coming across the heavens. And if they meet at the time of the sun and the moon, the masculine and the feminine being together, close together, just as a man and woman would, you have the potential for a crossing. You might say you have the potential for a gateway opening. It's interesting I chose the word crossing because how many X's and crosses in symbolism wise is there that's related to this? It's a lot. Let's go over here. I want to show you a little bit more imagery here. Let's see here. Okay, so look at this. This, of course, is a solar eclipse. The one that we're going to see come across America is going to be closer to the imagery of that eye. It's going to look like this, but it's going to be much more magnificent than even this. And then you're going to have the comet coming in over here from the side. Okay. And some of my studies, I'm going to share just some of the things that I found with you. I'm not sure where they're all at exactly, but this is the imagery of the movement of the heavens as well as a solar eclipse. This center area here, the disk in the center right here, is this. These wings that come out here from the sides. Yes, I said wings. Because a point of creation has wings, lesser wings and greater wings. And these are the wings here on this ancient Aztec timepiece. Okay. And let's see here. Speaking of wings, these are the over a period of time, over decades, and even over a century here. These are the solar spots that happen on the sun, tracked on a map by a gentleman that was famous for this, a guy named the Meander, which a couple of different things are named after him, but he discovered that the sunspots create a pattern of butterfly wings when observed over a long period of time. Butterfly wings. This is the equator. This is the equator right here, that center line, and the sunspots were above and below, and he tracked them and charted them out, and he come up with butterfly wings. I find that fascinating. And so the Egyptians, they looked at this as wings, because I'm sure they probably had some understanding, maybe greater than us, likely, of what these represented, and that they would build their imagery around this. And I've got some of it here to show you. Another drawing of a past eclipse. Another one here. This is 1901, May 18th. Depiction of it. Here's another one. This one was of 1857. And it had, according to the person who drew this, in the upper right, it had something that looked coiled up, which was very interesting. Like a pet, well, you could call it a petal on a flower, which would be very appropriate, actually. A petal on a flower. And let's see, where's the images I'm looking for? It's another good example of the wings and how it could be, this symbol here could easily arrive at a symbol I'm fixing to show you here in a second. If you've seen that in the heavens and it only came once in a great while, you probably could find yourself thinking and doing drawings of something like that. You got the solar disk, you got the wings. This is an eclipse, is what this is. This is symbolism for what they looked at as their God spreading his wings. Just another image of it, associated, of course, with the pyramid. And, of course, those same Egyptians, or that religion, is still here today. And they still worship it in that fashion by creating logoses in the imagery of the eclipse. You see? So now you know what this imagery is, why they keep doing this, why they're so fascinated with the eye and all of their eye symbolism and all of this. They worship the sun as their God. And I must confess that when you look at the sun and it produces an eye, I've asked the question before, whose eye is it? But Father created all things in his image. The sun is something that is in the image of God. It is not God. God is something that cannot be looked upon. And it is in his image, yes. Just like the world, WHIRLED, the world is in his image as well. And you have hieroglyphs of all different types depicting eclipses like this right here. And I've got some better images as well. Shannon, if you have any thoughts or anything, you're welcome, of course, to jump in. Just kind of going through explaining some of these images. Here you have, again, the winged sun disk, which is an eclipse. So you can understand the significance of how important this eclipse is, because we not only have an eclipse, we have an eclipse that's going to bring midnight in the middle of the day, from around the noon hour to around the 3 o'clock, or you could say from the 6th hour to the 9th. You can see that a lot of this right here is symbolism throughout different cultures, throughout time, is how they showed an eclipse taking place. Here's another symbolism, additional symbolism for an eclipse. And also you see you have down here, you have the Ankh. Okay. The Egyptians called it the Ankh. And I've wondered for quite a while what it represents. But actually what it represents, let's see if I have a better image of it here. We'll come back to the Ankh in just a second. Here's your deity, right? The ancient Egyptian hieroglyphy, or whatever you want to call it. Solar eclipse taking place, the wings are spread out, and they've got it as it being a representation of the deity, of the god, their god Ra. Is what they called him, Ra for ray, as in the sun rays. The Ankh, I don't agree with everything that's written here, but I agree with quite a bit that's here. And the Ankh is symbolism for a lot of things, because everything is in multiple images and multiple levels in the heavens, on earth, and in the body. This imagery here is talking about how it matches up with the body, and it's referring to the center of this Ankh being a point of creation, and that is true. This is symbolism for the womb, or a point of creation of the human body. Has many of these spots on it that are points of creation. But the ancient Egyptians were focused on the womb, you might say. Okay. Of course, the Ankh symbol, and it's got the wings, as you can see, just like that, and the eclipse symbolism. And of course, inside of the eclipse symbolism, you can see that there is the bird wings inside, right there. Again, the greater wings and the lesser wings. And who is calling me right now? Well, I can't answer the Supernatural Show line at the moment. I'm sorry. I'll check the message and call you back. All right, let's see here. Okay, here is imagery of that again. So here you have the Ankh, and this thing here that looks like you know how along most of the big power lines, they have the big pole up there, and they have multiple levels. I could probably bring up an image of it, but I'm sure y'all guys know what I'm talking about, where they hang the power lines from, okay? And that's where the energy, the spark, the energy flows through, is from these towers. And in a way, this is symbolism for that, but it's a bit deeper than that. And you notice that it's here beside the feminine Ankh here, okay? And let me show you what I mean. If you look at the, let's see if I have a better image. Okay, well, there's a better image of that. Okay. Now look at the letter. Hold on here. Let me run a quick search. I want to make sure I get what I'm fixing to say correct. Just pulling this back over here. Okay. Letter X and the SAMAKH. SAMAKH. Okay, it's the let's see. Okay, here we go. This might. The letter X. The letter X in ancient Hebrew, okay, says the letter X is associated with Samak, or the S, the sound, actually. The X. Think about the word sex. It has the sound of the serpent, the sound of the serpent built into the language. It says in the Hebrew alphabet, which is the symbol of a serpent or a dragon swallowing its own tail. The serpent is wrapped around this. This is the pole with the serpent wrapped around it. Who is this here? Gotta love interruptions. I guess the old dark side does not want me talking about this kind of stuff. Phone ringing, people knocking on the door. But guess what? I'm going to keep talking about it. So you have the pole. This is like the pole that was in the Garden of Eden with the serpent wrapped around it. Most all things in nature will function off of this system. And I don't understand it all completely, but I do know that I'm on the right trail of understanding it. A lot of interruptions. The serpent always represents wisdom. The cycle signifies completion, perfection, and eternity. Thus, X is like a serpent shedding its own skin to prepare for a new. I'm not sure I agree exactly with that, but the point is that this symbol, you know what it now represents. It's a masculine. It has to do with the spark. Has to do with the fire. It has to do. This is why they built the power towers. This in the same image, because it's related. It's related. Of course, there's a lot of other symbolism out there that has this in it. Here you have that tower with the ankh on top of it, which is again symbolism for an eclipse, as you see right here on top of that, and has to do with creation. And no, I'm not promoting, just to make it clear, I'm not promoting Egyptian religion or any other religions. What I'm doing is I'm showing you some things that I understand and how they're related to the eclipse. Let's see here. What else I got? I'll put these links below, but when I was doing some of the research, trying to see if my understandings of what I could see in my mind, if anybody else was seeing this, I found like this webpage. It says the winged, if I can get that to work right, the winged sun disk symbol of ancient Egyptian religion was inspired by total solar eclipses. And it's a pretty good read. The guy has a pretty good understanding. And by like looking at this image here, you say, well, you got the sun disk there, you've got the wing spread, I get that, but what's the serpent doing there? You see, this is where I'm going to get in trouble with a few people. Since we were born, we've been lied to. We can all agree upon that. Right? Okay. Have our thoughts about things been manipulated and controlled? Would the devil try to tell us that something was good is evil and something that was evil is good? What did they clearly try to make you think is evil? Well, the eye, the serpent, and that there could be nothing good to do with the concept of the energy of the flow that's symbolized that comes from the serpent. You see this, like in a hurricane, the serpent energy is wrapped right around the eye of the storm. It is what creates that flow, that energy. And I can understand all that, and I understand a lot of it. I'm not saying profoundly that I understand it all. I'm just sharing with y'all guys what I do understand. And so y'all guys have heard, like I have a new channel, as a matter of fact. I haven't even shared it with y'all guys yet or anything, but I have a new channel. It's called Daniel's Art Garden. And there's about 3 videos on it right now. And it's because I understand it at a higher level, thanks to Father showing me these things, of some of the things that we've been led to believe are just complete evil, don't have nothing to do with it, is not always completely true. You know, even Christ spoke about and compared himself to a serpent being raised on a pole and healing coming from that. I don't have the verse up here, but you can go look that up.
Well, also just to kind of mention that the seraphim angels were like serpent-like beings, like creatures, you know, and the seraphim are like part of, you know, the watcher angels were seraphim, and they're the ones that mated with, you know, the women of man. So I mean, even in the garden, I mean, remember Lucifer originally was one of God's, you know, most amazing creations, his right hand angel, and he was a seraphim type angel.
A,
So
a,
in the garden,
a seraphim, a seraphim.
seraphim, yes.
Okay, I wonder why that's named that way then, with the
Mhm.
serpent sound on the front.
Right?
hmm Um, yeah, and yeah, Shannon, please feel free to share any thoughts you have about this, because I know a little bit of this is controversial. Because I'm going to take a poll, just like in the Garden of Eden, and I'm gonna do two of them, just like in the Garden of Eden, and I'm gonna create uh, a pole in one spot, a pole in another spot, and create my garden in the middle. And I'm gonna take copper wire and wind it around it, up and then also into the water. And what it'll do is it'll create a point of creation of energy in the center between the two poles, with the energy flow that'll naturally be created by that setup. And some people would probably think, "Oh, you're messing with something." I only mess with the things that Father lead me to understand. And there is Father, you have to understand, created all things. He created even the evil side because it was a requirement, obviously, apparently. And there's a deeper understanding to be gained when you really, because I can't show you what's in my mind. You know, I can show you a lot of images and try to use the words that I have, but I know what a point of creation is. I know what the image of the world is. I know what the image of heaven is. I know it's God put it on our bodies. It's all over us. It's right in our face. It's on our eyes. And once you start coming to those greater understandings, you'll realize that, okay, I got two eyes that look like hurricanes or solar eclipses or tornadoes or water going down a toilet or all these toroidal move, these things, these imagery, like we're in the image of God. Okay. Then you got two of them. So in the middle between the two, you're going to have a point of creation. And there's certain attributes that all points of creation have. So what's in the middle between our eyes, Shannon?
That would be the Ark of the Covenant, pretty much.
The art. Yeah, the
The
art.
Ark.
Let's see here if I have. I think I might have. Yeah, take a look. This is right between your eyes. Do you see the Do you see the ark? If you go look up the ark itself, like Noah's Ark, for instance, like the one they built in Kentucky, you go look it up, you're gonna find this. That's called the ethoid bone, or the ethics bone, or the law, where the law is, like the Ark of the Covenant, because that's in the image of the ark. Noah's Ark, the ark. You also have this one. Do you see the butterfly? The butterfly and the arc are connected together, and they sit right at the top of the last vertebrae on your vertebrae, your last vertebrae at the top of your neck, and create the mercy seat. That flat area you're seeing there at the very end in the back, that's where that bone connects. And that's what I believe is considered to be the mercy seat. It's the arc sits right on top of it, and that bone is it's a little less than an inch wide, and it sits directly between your two eyes. It sits directly between them. You can see the cross. You can see the veil hanging on the cross. You can see the portals in the top of the boat, just like on any kind of a boat. You have the portals where the goods are loaded and unloaded, that type of thing. So when I talk about some of these deeper understandings, you have to understand that Father has shown me a lot of things, and it's a great responsibility, a heavy responsibility, to come out and talk about things like this, and be concerned that I get it right, and that it's not me speaking, but it's the words and the understandings that Father gave me about these things. Because the penalty of the opposite would not be something I would be interested in. So when I show you all these kinds of images and stuff, I hope you understand. And when I talk to you about the concepts, there's a deeper understanding, things that we understand. We can't have this knee-jerk reaction all the time. Daniel's talking about putting a serpent on a stick, putting it in the garden. Yeah, I am, because I understand it at a deeper level. I understand it's part of who we are. It's part of creation, of all creation. It's there in everything, and it will be there in the eclipse. There's no way to avoid it.
And Moses was even told by God to put in a staff with a bronze, right? Was it bronze serpent?
Yeah.
I mean, God created everything. It's the enemy that's decided to invert it and change things and make it evil.
That's the exact point, is that everything isn't just black and white, evil or good. You like the knowledge, the tree of knowledge from the garden is for, you can use that knowledge, which I'm sharing with you freely here. You can use that knowledge. This knowledge, upon being studied carefully, can lead you to greatness or great evil, depending on where you want to go with it. What did God say? He said, don't touch it, because surely you will die. In the state we are in now, kicked out of the garden, we're in a fallen state. But, we're all using these things. If you think you're not touching copper, or if you think you're not participating in some of these things, trust me, the screen you're looking at and holding in your hand right now, you're holding the apple in your hand.
Those are scrying mirrors.
Scrying mirrors, they're full of copper. You say, ooh, evil, better throw it down. Well, it can also be used for good. And that's what we do here on this show, is to show you. We try to use things that can be used for evil, but use it for good. And so I hope y'all guys understand that.
Right. And just like anyone who goes to a doctor and takes medication, you're partaking in pharmakia.
Yep.
Things along those lines. This is the world we live in.
Yep, exactly. I also wanted to show a couple of little scenes from a video that's very much related to this. It's most of you are familiar with it. And again, I'm not promoting this music or anything like this. I'm showing you things. I'm removing the veil off of things for y'all guys to see. Okay, so there was a group called Soundgarden, and they created a song called Black Hole Sun. I'm sure most all of you are familiar with it. Black Hole Sun. So,
I used to love Soundgarden. I'm a kid, teenager in the 90s.
right?
Couldn't help it.
Exactly. So, in this scene of I Pet Goat, let's see what they're doing during this scene. Watch the man's hands and what he's doing and what's in the sky above. So he's calling something forth, right? So he's calling something forth. Let's see if we can watch it again. If I didn't go too far back. Oh, here we go. See his hands? There's an eclipse taking place. There's a comet on his beard. And he's got black wings. These represent symbolism for angel of death. He's calling something forth. Now look at the Soundgarden video. For one, let me turn the sound off. If you back this up, this is at one spot in the video. It's showing this lady looking up at. They're all looking up in the sky at an eclipse, a black hole sun. They're all looking up and they're all changing. They're being transformed as this video plays through, having really weird faces and all. But they're focusing on this lady here with the pretty eyes. And again, this is all put together specifically just like I Pet Goat was. It's put together. There's hidden messages and things to be revealed here. So you have, goes from showing her with her eyes, and then it shows you an image of an eye or a portal or a point of creation with something going through. Because with points of creation, something will come through or something will go through. Just like sperm or baby, or just like milk from the breast. The breast is a point of creation too. Just like your eyes on your body. Light goes through. As far as something coming through, that's a whole nother discussion probably. So yeah, they show this imagery, but more interestingly, I wanted to show you that. But more interestingly, they show what is it they're showing right here? We might take a look at that. That's which kind of reminds me of from the I Pet Goat video of when the temple was hit with and blown up. All these black crows were flying up out of it. Kind of similar to that, but that's not what I want to show you actually. Let me see if I can find it. Well, here's some more imagery for you.
I think it might be more towards the beginning, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I just wanted to point out, just recently, if anyone noticed that they came out with a news on the news, they say that there is a new, since like 2014, syndrome or mental disorder of people who see people's faces distorted. And they actually showed pictures comparison of like the normal looking face and then what they see, which looks like a lot of these people in this video, and with the big giant smiley creepy demonic faces or clown-like demonic faces. And in this video, when this black hole sun event is going on, their faces distort into this. And I just thought, how interesting that they would come out with this news report all over the nation talking about this disorder right in time for this. And then,
about perfect timing.
right?
Mm-hmm. And I would imagine if I was to dig into the dates and times and all the information, everything around this video, I'm sure I could line it up to tell us some interesting things. But I also would imagine that this video is pointing to this event that we're getting ready to see play out in the heavens.
You did have the image that you were.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to it. I'm headed back to it now. Just looking to see what else I see. Because I wanted to catch one of those really people with that really strange looking face as well. I like
They're right there. See?
this kind of thing a little bit. Lord, the bugs again.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go up here and get the one. Okay, so this one right here, I think. Or did I go too far? Okay.
Oh yeah, they're all doing it on that one.
So you see them, what they're doing with their arms. So there's an eclipse going on, just like an iPet goat. And they're here doing this calling down thing, this calling down motion. And they do it several times in this video, if I can catch it the other time without having to play so much, because we end up with a copyright. I know there's another point where it shows them doing that again. I'm just not sure where it's at. And they're also showing what I noticed. Let me see if it does it here. Let me play this. See the flashing?
Mm-hmm.
See the flashing, Shannon?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? What comes to mind?
The spark, as you were mentioning earlier.
Spark. Yeah, the spark. Oh, Lord. We shall see. It's all in God's hands, you know. Yeah, they may do things to manipulate what we see in the heavens, but ultimately the story goes the way God allows it, you know, overall. Of course, in our individual lives, we can make some bad choices and cause the story to go bad. But I'd be doing my best to get out of Babylon right now if I could. And Babylon is, yeah, it's a physical place, but it's really more of a spiritual place. Get out of Babylon.
That one scene with the stuff coming out of the house reminded me of black goo coming up, and just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, it does. You notice all the beekeeper's dead and the bees are. So the beekeeper was laying on the ground there. That's just weird stuff.
Yeah, there is a point too where that lady who's, you know, trying to get a suntan and with the creepy face and has the serpent tongue that comes out, and
showing the Barbie doll, the fakeness
and flames.
and flames. Yeah, very interesting. So let's see. Let me look on my other thing over here because I've got probably some other things that I wanted to show. Mhm.
I know bees too, and a lot of symbology represents hive mind mentality. And, in an event like this, when if when we're being told that it's possible that people might act like animals, there's this face distortion disorder, all of these things. It's like it's prepping us for hive-minded demonic behavior.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because that's a lot of what I saw in my visions in 2013 that God showed me and things along those lines. And just don't believe that it's a disorder. This is the spiritual manifesting, portals
The light, the
opening
light,
things.
basically the light going out in a lot of people. And when that light goes out, they're going to be directly connected to the beast. And they're going to be hive mind, and they're going to do his will. Completely, absolutely. But for those of us that are not going to be doing that, um, you just have to have faith, walk in faith all the time, have no fear, no matter what happens. Yeah. You recognize this image, Shannon?
That's like what is it?
Stargate.
Stargate?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stargate.
What do you reckon they were trying to show you with this image? Stargate, a gateway. Like I said, a point of creation where something may
Portal.
go through, something may come out. They showed it in that series. They did plenty of times. They'd say, "Open the iris, close the iris." This kind of stuff they're talking about. Same thing I'm teaching you about, so that you understand completely. Yeah, so I find that pretty interesting image. You got a tower on this side, a tower on this side, and then you got the gateway, of course, with the sun right there. And
And it's no coincidence that NASA, right, is going to be shooting rockets up at 3 of them, and it's called Apep, which is the serpent god in ancient Egypt. And
they're
CERN is going to, fire up during that time. And I mean,
launching balloons from every state in the country.
mhm.
They've got all these teams of young people out launching all this equipment that NASA is having them to launch. And they're not just launching it in the path of totality, they're launching it across the entire United States. So if you see balloons before or after or during the eclipse, yeah, that's what they're doing. Now, what they're actually doing, um, forgive me if I would think it might be nefarious. Let's see what else here. Um, that I haven't showed already.
Now, just wanted to bring up too that Daniel and I both talked about going on a prayer fast. And I think it would be a really good idea for anybody who really wants to look into doing that, fasting and going into prayer and really just, armoring up.
And what you're doing is you're sacrificing the earthly desires, the desires of the body, and you're saying, you're spiritually standing up and saying, I'm in charge. The body won't ask what it wants and try to get what it wants, but all it's going to get is water if you choose to do that. And so, yeah, you're denying the flesh is what you're doing. You're making a sacrifice, and it's just simply a way to show your faith to Father and demonstrate it through sacrificing what the flesh desires. This is most of you are probably familiar with this, maybe some of you not. But anyways, this is the Satanic Bible. Basically, this is the Book of the Law, I think is what it's called. It was Aleister Crowley, and you notice the symbolism here. You got the solar eclipse symbolism here with the rays spread or the wings spread with the portal and or the point of creation. And you have this symbolism here. You have the two towers with the basically you're looking at the sound. It's the serpent symbol or the S sound in ancient Hebrew, and also from Egyptian symbolism as well. And so you got the two towers with the sun here in the middle. This just like that image I just showed you just a moment ago. This one, right? Yeah, this one. You're looking at the same thing as this. The two towers, toroidal energy, the serpent energy running up around, and a point of creation being in the middle. It is what it is. And you can do evil with it, with this knowledge, or you can do good with this knowledge. I prefer to do good. Let's see here. Isn't that a cool image of the eye? And that, knowing that image, here's another one. This image holds, and I've given y'all guys a lot of the secrets that this image holds, but it holds so many godly secrets about creation. You're looking at everything right here. You go look in the mirror, look at your eye, you can see heaven and earth. You can see creation itself, a point of creation. And I just think that's fantastic. Glorious. Even. Shannon, before the show started, she said, have you seen that new show coming out on Netflix called the Three Body Problem? And I pulled it up and looked it up, and I said, this one? And I had this image up ready to start the show with, was this one. And then she says, have you seen the one about the three body problem? It's talking about a lot of stuff we talk about. And I go, oh, you're talking about this one? And I'm like, yeah, they're showing and symbolizing a lot of the things that we talk about, but they're not going to tell you the truth behind it, you know?
No, they're deceiving you and making you think it's aliens.
Yeah, the movie about aliens becoming the gods and all of this and coming down to save you and all this kind of stuff. But what we're really talking about, and that kind of stuff could kick off even as soon as during the eclipse. There's no telling what they're going to put on a show for. There's also no telling what God is going to do during that eclipse. We don't know the day or the hour for sure, do we? No, we don't. But yeah, Shannon was showing me that. I was going to tell you a little something that happened. This is another image from that show. Mm-hmm. This reminds me of the new MasterCard logo that they're coming out with. It's got three bodies. You know, you got like an eclipse and another body that shows up, almost kind of like the iPet goat symbolism. You know, at the very end with this deal. Very much similar. There it is again. And, you know, you got people out there saying they're seeing other bodies in the heavens and all that. Well, anything that's there, it won't see everything, but the veil to a point when this eclipse happens is going to be removed. You're going to have 4 minutes, 3.5, depending on where you're at, it might be less, but you're going to have so many minutes in order to see what the heavens look like. You might say God opens the eye for just a moment, lets you see. And it's supposed to really mean something to us. Oh, I was going to tell the little thing that happened the other day. I probably want to show this too. I was sitting out on my little back porch the other day, and I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I seen a white moth fly up and was fluttering around right by me, and it vanished. And I was like, what? Am I seeing things? And I just kind of put it off as I just didn't see where it went. Well, all of a sudden it showed back up, and it flew around and come flying like right in front of me, right between my legs, literally. And it vanished right in front of my eyes. A white moth showed up and vanished twice, and right in front of my eyes. The second time, there was no way to deny it. You know, that there was something supernatural that was being shown to me. And of course, it reminded me of the scene in this video where this Antichrist figure has a moth on his finger. I think it's probably right up around somewhere up in here. Let's see. Oh, I don't know, somewhere's in there, but I'm sure you guys remember it if you've seen it. It shows the moth on his finger disappearing, transformation, and yeah. Let me open this image again. This is something that's going on as well right now. They're kicking off what they're saying is the largest military exercise in like 50 years since we've been born, supposedly. They're calling it Steadfast Defender. And it's a exercise. And some of the places I've seen online had even just called it EX Steadfast Defender 2024. Just with the EX at the beginning, the X. And you can look that up if you're more interested in seeing it. But I thought it was interesting in showing, you know, the symbolism of the X here with the sword and the, you know, trident. And you got what looks like a tsunami on one side here. And then you got symbolism here for basically an eclipse. And I know there's another name for that image as well. But a lot of the images that, as I've shown you, even all the way back to the Egyptian days, a lot of that imagery has to do with the eclipse. It's an image that means more than we still even know. Let's see here. It says, well, let's just skip that. Let me show you this. Well, not skip it. I kind of already talked about it. But let me show you this. Let's open this up. This is looking at the New Madrid. Okay. This is Southern Illinois right here. Cairo, Illinois is right here. And areas that are called Mounds, Illinois are around up here. And all the other places that I've shown you on our map that's on the website, TheSupernatural.Show. You can go there. And if you're going to be in the path of Eclipse, go there and sign up to be a cameraman, just using your phone. All you need to do is click on one link. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to talk. Or you can send a text to 843-284-3343 and say, I want to be a cameraman, and give me the city that you're going to be located in, the city and state. And I'll put you on the list so you can be one of our cameramen. We've got about a dozen now, camera people A few of you I haven't contacted still. I'll be in touch. Don't worry about it. If you want to make sure I've got your information, send me the text. Send me the text and say, I want to be a cameraman for the Eclipse. 843-402-8827. Excuse me, not that number. 843-284-3343. I'd still get it if you sent it to the other one, but I would prefer you to go to 843-284-3343. Make it a little easier for me. So what am I showing you here? I'm talking about the New Madrid fault. It says the zone is active at averaging more than 200 measured seismic events per year. The New Madrid fault extends approximately 120 miles southward from the area of Charleston, Missouri, and Cairo, Illinois, through uh, New Madrid and Cathersville, following Interstate 55 to Blytheville, then to Mark Tree, Arkansas. And then what I found really interesting is, well, I'll just show you. These are all the quakes that have been going on, generally smaller quakes over the last year, 2 years. I'm not sure how far back this goes, but you can see the concentration is right down in here. Cairo is right here. Cairo, Illinois is right there. This is where the Mississippi and the Ohio River, I'm not sure, come together right here and come down, of course, straight down to Memphis. Another Egyptian name, and there's tons of it in here. And plus, we've shown you on a previous show where they found all this Egyptian artifacts all around this area here. This is like this used to be Egypt along another eon ago, another turn of the wheel, that kind of thing. But yeah, and I got another image to show you here. This one. This is just another version of the map showing how the earthquakes in that area, the concentration of them, where they're at, and how big they are. And as you can see, this is Illinois here. The concentration is right in southern Illinois. It's just right in Cairo. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I'd say there might be an eclipse. I mean, not an eclipse, but an earthquake possible.
Well, in past historical documentations, there have been plenty of earthquakes, even a couple of months after a major eclipse.
Right.
I mean, that's not too far off.
No, not at all.
Here in California, I'm like, yeah, that would figure. Just, been waiting for that big one. Wouldn't that just be something?
Well, no. Let's hope not. We don't want any bad things to happen,
Oh, no.
At the same time, you can't keep your head in the sand in this life any longer. You got to pay attention.
Again, be prepared, not scared. I love that saying. You can tell I'm still like mom brain. I always have these quips. Like, don't trip, potato chip. Things like, yeah, I'm a nerd. Sorry.
Shannon's a little bit of a nerd, but
I am.
I like nerds. It's all cool. This is an interesting image that I found. It was about it's a painting actually of it's like a mural, but we can see it here. But it's of when Christ was crucified, right? The interesting thing is you've got a comet in the sky, even though it's like maybe two. I can show you the comets a little closer up. Let's see here.
What I think is interesting in these, right, is there are beings in these, right? And when I think of comets or stars, I think of angels. And there's a passage in the Bible where it says, wandering stars, for whom it is reserved the blackness, the darkness forever. And that's really, to me, like depicting the fallen angels that are in chains, that are trapped in this space outside the firmament, and to me, like, wouldn't comets or like falling stars kind of fall in, and or the planets, whatever you want to, I mean, to me, they are beings, like the fallen angels trapped in this darkness. And it's just interesting that they depict these as with people inside.
Right. And that's why I'm kind of like showing them this, because it shows you what they believed, you know. And I know that the stars are not planets and things you can go out there and stand on and walk around like the moon. Yeah, ain't nobody ever walked on the moon. Ain't nobody ever going to walk on the moon. It's not what it appears to be. Just like the sun itself is even not what it appears to be. You just, it isn't possible to go there. Just like what was the guy's name that he was one of the astronauts that claimed to have went, and a little girl asked him about it, and he goes, "It didn't happen because it didn't happen."
Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
Yep.
When the little girl asked him, and he couldn't help himself but to tell a little bit of truth, right?
Yep.
So these images though would lead you some credence to what I said about the comets being the essence of, or you could also almost look at it like the makeup of, or the semen, if you want to use that word. I tend to think of it being a little crude sounding, but it is what it is. But being in these photos of the crucifixion and such, or in the images, the paintings that were done way back in the day. So, anyways, just sharing some things I run across. Uh, here's another interesting image that is kind of interesting. This one has some of the imagery in it I was talking about. Here, this is a comet. Okay.
Oh, with the clown on it? That's
Yeah. It says it's called Comet Cake. Okay. It's a depiction. Okay.
mm-hmm.
And what do we have in the tail of the comet? We have a key. You have a key, and you have vowels. You open these up and you pour them out, and it talks about the angels in the Bible coming with the keys and the vowels that they open and pour out. And here's this image depicting that kind of taking place, you know. And I kind of find it a little fascinating.
Wow, though, with the clown, I mean Nephilim on the front. That's just
right. Yeah. Yeah. And it also kind of depicts a little bit of some kind of a craft here
mm-hmm.
in here with it. Like kind of obviously remind you of an alien ship or something. I'm not saying that's what it is depicted. The main thing I'm showing this for is because it's like a blazing star, and it has a tail and it has keys and vowels in it. Can't help but notice things like that. And then there was another one that was really strange. This image. The comet of 1811 being depicted. And what's interesting is if you look at the hair, and the hair is flowing back very interestingly. But more interesting is to look at people's faces. Dan pointed this out to me. He's like, look at their faces. You start out with this guy, looks like he's been in a car accident. And then this guy, he's got a case of ugly. And then you coming back, and you got this guy, he's got a big bubble head. And this guy's looking like, I don't know about this. And then you come back, and you got just weird, strange looking depictions of people like this guy. Have you ever met this guy before, Shannon?
I can't say I have.
Someone that looks like him.
Uh,
And then you got, I don't know, it's just weird. They're depicting, you know, like genetics or something going on here being in within the comet, coming like that. Which is kind of strange. Let's see. All right, I'm going to show one more thing and then I'm going to probably let y'all guys go. But this is kind of interesting. Matter of fact, it's very interesting. I research constantly all the time. I have probably thousands of images y'all guys never see. Okay. What you're looking at here is you're looking at the way sperm develops in the male body. Okay. Inside of your testicles, you have something that looks like a berry, like off of a berry bush. Okay. And it has these little buds, like berries, that come off of it. And those berries will then split into two, creating two berries. And those berries split into two more, and they continue splitting. And there will come a point where they start developing a tail. But they all come from something that looks like a piece of fruit. Obvious. The design it's all based on the same design, the way God has done everything. It's just incredible. And let's see here. There's another picture related to that. This is related. And what's interesting is that the period it takes for this process to take place, from one berry to fall off of the berry bush or off the cluster of berries, and for it to grow and turn into an actual viable sperm that has the ability to create a spark, do its part, you have 16 days and 24 days, 40 days. So it takes 40 days for viable sperm to grow. That number 40 sure comes up a lot.
mm-hmm.
A lot of
years in the desert, 40 days and nights of the flood. Yeah, 40 weeks in gestation. Just, yeah.
And here it is in the way, sperm develops. It's wild. Let's see. Oh, I got 5,000 more images here, but I could show what.
And Jesus was in the desert for 40 days. Thank you, Jay. Just that comment. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll show this real quick. I'm just curious how many of you are seeing the full solar halo, or at least being able to see this imagery. Because, there's another YouTuber, Mr. MB, of course. People send him in a lot of images and things and little videos. And lately, he's been putting them out all the time. And I've seen a full halo, the iris part and the pupil, just like this. I've seen it, probably in the last couple of months, probably 10 times. Prior to that, I hadn't seen it just a few times in my life. I knew what it was, obviously, because it's the background for the show we do, the Supernatural.Show. But I'm wondering how many of you are seeing this. And if you've got any kind of imagery like this, send it to us. All you got to do is text it. You can text it to that same number, 843-284-3343. And we'll get it and we can send it out. Hang on just a second.
I did kind of want to mention this to everybody. I was recently sent an amazing praise song with a testimony that just blew me away. And I wanted to kind of mention it real quick. If any of you, as we all feel the frequencies right now, are just bombarding, and if you're feeling down or you have just demonic stuff around you and you want to blast it away, this song was given to this man in a dream by angels and God himself, and was able to um, pretty much God just downloaded the whole composition into him, and he was able to recreate it to the best of his ability with things here on earth, with music out here. And it's just the most amazing song ever. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you if I can find it real quick. I'm pretty sure it's called, yeah, You're the Almighty God. The original version is in Greek, but there is one in English and I think in a few other languages. And it is just the most beautiful, amazing praise song ever. And if you guys need an upliftment in these times, blast it out in your house, in your car as you're driving. Just blast it, because it is absolutely amazing. So You're the Almighty God, and I think King of Kings, Nikos, and I can't pronounce the Greek name, but just check it out. If you get a chance to listen to his testimony, it'll blow you away. Just wanted to share that.
Yeah, it is awesome. Let's see here. All right. Well, guys, I think we've shown you, gave you enough insight today for one show. If you got here a little late, go back and watch the beginning of the show, because there's content that gets missed. A lot of the really interesting stuff sometimes is at the beginning, so make sure you go back and check it out. And be prepared for the solar eclipse and understand supernaturally what it means, and be prepared. Mostly spiritually, but you never know what the evil side is going to do. They might decide to have fun with us and turn the lights out for a few days, or create an earthquake, or God may create an earthquake. We are in times where things are going to go on, especially at the point of this eclipse and after. And also, no matter what you see in the heavens that may manifest or appear to be in the heavens during the eclipse, don't have any fear, okay? Don't go flipping out. Stand in your faith and know that you're okay no matter what, and only God's will happen to you, or otherwise they'd have you killed already. You'd be dead, just like I would. But they can't touch us. They can't kill us. They can only try to trick us into hurting ourselves, which we've all done at some point in our life. Luckily, Father's saved me over and over. Keeps giving me another chance. But with that being said, guys, I hope you come back and see us next Monday. And I hope you subscribe. I hope you go over to the Supernatural Show channel on YouTube and subscribe, or on Rumble, or we're live on 8 platforms right now, except for Facebook failed for some reason. I don't know why. But and next Monday, we're going to be streaming everything. We're going to have camera people all the way from Texas all the way to Maine, and have a live view of the sky nonstop for the totality. Now, most of the time, totality is only going to be 4 minutes. We're going to have it for 3 hours. That's incredible. We're going to get to watch, thanks to y'all guys being camera people, we're going to get to see and record everything that's going on. And also, guys, if you're a camera person, just know that you're going to be able to, there's going to be a copy of what you showed and what you recorded that will be available for you to download. So you'll have a copy of what you showed on your camera and what was there to be seen. It won't be just what we get here. You'll get a copy of it, of everything that's shown on your camera. So you don't have to record. You could, but you're going to get a copy of everything. So you'll be able to see what was coming through your camera being streamed to the show for every one of you. Any of you that happen to have a YouTube channel, you can also stream the show to your YouTube channel live as well. That'll be made available to you. And if you haven't signed up yet to be a camera person, if you're going to be in the area of totality, as close to the center as possible, hopefully, but if you're going to be in the area of totality and you know how to click a link on your cell phone that I would text you, and then you just simply point your camera at the sky. You don't have to talk. You don't have to show your face. You can if you want to, but generally we want to see the sky. And just send up, either go to the website and there's a page on there to sign up, or send a text to 843-284-3343 and say, I want to be a cameraman, and tell us what city and state you're in, because I'm going to update the map. So we got a big day coming next week. Those of you that have signed up to be a camera person, I'll be in touch. If I haven't already, I'll be in touch. Okay. With all that being said, any final words, Miss Shannon, for today?
I look forward to seeing all your videos on Monday, guys, next Monday. And, come and check it out. If you're not, of course, recording, come and check out what in the supernatural is going on, because I have a feeling that it's still going to have some pretty supernatural happenings. So, please like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all your prayers. I feel them all the time because I know I've been going through a lot of stuff with my dental stuff. Anyways, I just wanted to say thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support for our show. And please, please, please stay prayed up. Get yourself ready for whatever happens. Even if nothing happens, doesn't hurt to be prayed up and to protect yourself and to be there and on Jesus's side, because Jesus loves you and we love you. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
And at a minimum, this is going to happen. The image of your eye is going to be projected on the heavens. Yep. And we're going to have a comet coming over from the side that may just show up like the one a couple of 100 years ago where it looked like a second sun in the sky. The Mormons even recorded, they claimed that it stayed daylight for 3 days. Or 1 day and 1 night and 1 day. So, with that being said, I love you guys, and we'll see you next time here on The Supernatural Show. Bye-bye for now.